everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mila, you're at Alexandrian Archives, and today we're doing a video idea that has been inspired by another booktuber. Her name is Elizabeth. Her username is, her channel name is Plant-Based Bride, and she does a thing where every halfway through the year-ish, she gives you sort of a one sentence synopsis review kind of thing of every book that she's read, although she reads a lot since I believe this is like her full-time job, and it is not mine, unfortunately. If we get to 1,000 subscribers, it could be, so please subscribe. But yeah, and I don't read as much as she does. It takes me longer it just takes me a while longer, you know? And so I'm just gonna do the 25 books that I've read. 25. I believe it is 25. I'm not too sure. Yeah. I believe it's 25 that I've read. Give me a second. Whoops, this is not going great, actually. We're off to a fantastic start. No, we're not. Okay. 26 books. Yes, 26 books. So I have like 24 notes written down, but we'll get around to it. So, if I'm looking down, I am reading off the notebook. So the first one I read this year was The Judas Blossom by Stephen Aryan. What I wrote was a stunning start to a historical fiction fantasy set during the Mongol invasion of the Persian Empire. Next book I read was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, a fun YA mystery novel with a unique premise and twists you don't entirely expect. One of the only book talk favorites that hasn't disappointed. The next book I read was an ARC. The book is out now. It's Foul Days, a phenomenal debut steeped in Slavic and Bulgarian folklore that touches on magic, friendship, and moving forward after an abusive relationship and beating the abuser. So please check trigger warnings. The next one is Girl Goddess Queen, a disappointing and confusing retelling about Hades and Persephone, which could have been good if not for the confusing lore, severe mischaracterization of both Hades and Persephone, and feminine rage that is told and not shown. Also, Demeter is once again a villain and a helicopter mom. The next book I read was Fairy Tales of Old Russia, a nostalgic retelling and translation of 9 famous Russian fairy tales that effortlessly captures the charm you'd experience if you read the stories in the original Russian. The Poppy War, a book that portrays the brutality of war, doesn't hold back, and features a morally grey protagonist, based on the Second Sino-Japanese War, and also includes a chapter based on Nanking, so please check trigger warnings. Good Girl, Blood, a very fun second book that brings more plot twists and turns that will keep you guessing. As Good as Dead, a stunning conclusion to a book talk favorite series that actually didn't really disappoint, although it is my least favorite. Please check trigger warnings. I feel like I'm saying it a lot. To Cage a God, a fun fantasy set in a world inspired by Imperial Russia that has dragons, but not in the traditional sense, and a little too much spice for my liking. Where the Dark Stands Still, another stunning Slavic debut with inspiration taken from Slavic and Polish folklore that has a slight enemies to lovers romance and an ending that will leave you asking for more. Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, a wonderful cozy read about a dryadology, wow, I can't speak apparently, a dryadology expert going to a distant town in the north, closely Scandinavian country, full of charm, academic rivalry, and found family moments. Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Ones, a fun and solid continuation in the Emily Wilde trilogy that does have some of the charm of the first book, but unfortunately suffers from second book syndrome, which made me enjoy it less. But I'm excited for the third book, and I will be continuing the series. A Crane Among Wolves. This is a longer sentence, so a phenomenal YA historical fiction set during the reign of the tyrant King Yeonsan, a dark period in Korean history. However, handled really well, balancing the dark with hope and light and a satisfying conclusion. Please check trigger warning. Darker by 4. A really fun YA that's the start of a duology that pulls in East Asian underworld tales and has really interesting world building and a really well done found family aspect. Monstrous Knights, which was an arc. It is not out yet. It is out, I believe, in October. So you don't have to wait long after you've read Foul Days to read Monstrous Knights. A gripping conclusion to Foul Days that pulls you in from the beginning and doesn't let go until the end. Atalanta. A really fun and refreshing retelling of Atalanta, the only Greek heroine in mythology who was known to be an amazing runner and skilled archer. Take notes, Miller. The Emperor's Edge. A refreshing self-published fantasy series that is both fun and easy to get into with compelling characters that you grow to love and a really well done found family aspect. I apparently can't read my handwriting because it is actually a mess. Fellowship of the Ring, a classic and one of the most foundational pieces of literature in the fantasy genre. Self-explanatory. The Two Towers, my favorite book of the trilogy, engaging, fast-paced at the right moments, and slower at other also right moments. Return of the King, the most beautiful conclusion to an equally stunning trilogy. Every scene with Éowyn was beautiful. A Game of Thrones, my first foray into the world of Westeros that is both horrifying but also really well written. Like, at the end of the day, it's well written. Sabriel, a really fun start to a YA trilogy with an insanely interesting concept of magic and really interesting world building. Lyriel, my favorite of the trilogy, following a main character that becomes a library assistant, which is so funny because I'm a library assistant, and dreams of having one title but is given another that makes more sense. Abortion, a phenomenal conclusion where most things are answered, but some things leave you questioning in an oddly satisfying way. The Lake of Dead Languages. I would say this book is for for those that tried The Secret History but did not like Donna Tartt's writing and the various, misogyny, homophobia, sexism in her books, but still want that dark academia element, and this is quite underrated. And I'm excited to read the author's other books. Please check trigger warnings because the plot twist in this book had me in a chokehold too. And then the last book I read was Give the Dark My Love by Beth Revis, and this is another slightly dark academia that definitely takes a darker turn that you don't really expect because the main character is sort of a goody two-shoes. She's like the oldest in her family that maybe would wrap up by the end, but yeah. So that was not one sentence. Okay, so yeah, that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts down below. Follow me on all my socials, and I will leave the links to these books if you're interested below at some point or another. And I will see you in the next one. Happy reading!